Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Sultans of Swap. I'm Brian Johnson. I'm joined, as always, by Mr. Edwin Anderson from sunny Florida. How are you, sir?
Doing great. Happy Valentine's Day, gents.
Yeah, man, you got the red shirt on. I like that. John, are you wearing a red shirt? We didn't talk about this prior to. I
Yes,
should have
I
had
am.
I
Yes,
should
I
have had
am.
my red Valentine's Day shirt on. And of course, from the sports card investor mansion, private jet waiting outside is Mr. John Anthony.
Gentlemen, I use that term very, very loosely.
Very good. I did, like I said, I didn't get the memo on the red shirt. I feel bad, and it is Happy Valentine's Day. So what else would we talk about on Valentine's Day? Of course, it wouldn't be our significant others. It would be baseball cards. So kind of before we got started today, we were talking about box configurations, the way that cards were set up, and what makes us buy and what doesn't. I'm going to start with Edwin because Edwin will tell us again his favorite product and configuration, which is.
Yeah, I think I've probably talked about it a couple of times now. My favorite one is Topps Museum Collection. Personally, I think what I like about the product, and each hobby box has several packs in there, and 4 packs per box, and 5 cards per pack. It's guaranteed one hit per pack. So you have 5 cards in each pack. Obviously it can change if there's different, redemptions and things like that. But you got one hit at least. And I like the variety. To be honest with you, each pack, each box, which is a, four pack box, is going to have an on-card auto. You're going to get a autographed relic card. You're going to get a jumbo relic. You're going to get one of those nifty quad relics. So I like the variety. And, obviously they got case hits in there, littered in between where you get the framed and the jumbo autographed relic. One cool thing about that set too is that there's no cards in there, lower than 399, as
Right.
far as serial number, but I like that person. I like the variety. I like a little bit of everything.
And is the configuration of the boxes more? I mean, obviously it's the design of the card and everything like that, but is the configuration something you find attractive, unattractive?
Yeah, I mean, I like the variety of stuff in there. As far as when it comes down to boxes, individual boxes, I try to get a little. I can't say I buy by the box. For the most part, I'm going for the value there. I try to get a case if I'm going to get
Right,
them.
right. Because
But
in the case, there's going to be at least, you hope, and I've noticed it's been the case, at least one Big Willie in there. And what actually made me think about this was watching John's break last night. Uh, the products to break were National Treasures, Strata, and Five Star. And the thing that got me thinking about it is Five Star used to be configured a lot like National Treasures, where I believe it was 7 cards. They were all on-card autos. I mean, Five Star is a beautiful product. And this year they changed it more of a strata configuration where they had 2 cards in each box, and the price was significantly lower. A few of the people were debating back and forth, what they should purchase, and ultimately some of them landed on buying, just boxes of the Five Star, boxes of the Strata, and most of them passed on the National Treasures. Uh, John's wife is behind him, so I don't want to say what he did because she may not know. But John opened the National Treasures, and I mean, he got a great box. There's a Pedro button, a Addison Russell with the Cubs 2 buttons in one box, and everything else. And I said to myself, what I actually preferred, yeah, there it is. What I actually preferred was, the configuration of National Treasures, because even though I'm spending $450, I know I'm going to get a hit instead of Jan Gomes. There it is, the Pete Rose bat barrel. So, John, you break a lot of boxes. I mean, you've been doing this a long time. What do you see from your perspective, and then also from a customer perspective? What do you think the buy-in is on those for configuration? Just configuration.
You're asking which I prefer?
Now, what you see from a customer perspective, what they prefer, because obviously there's a reason Five Star made the move to go from like a $400 box to like a $90 box or less. Uh, so I'm kind of asking, do you think they did that for a reason? I mean, what do you see successful, and then also, what do you prefer?
Uh, well, I think that they did it because I think Topps is moving towards letting more people play, if you know what I'm saying. If you really think about it, triple threads has been a staple now for I don't know how many years, so I don't think they'll ever change the configuration of that. Outside of triple threads, I mean, what's really between triple threads and Dynasty? I mean, Museum and triple threads are priced very similarly. I don't think that Topps doesn't want to be the Panini with the $500 pack. I think that they're moving toward that 150, 180 max with the one capstone product, and they're going to be more in the $80 to $100 range. And my personal preference is stuff like Finest, where there is a guaranteed case hit, where it's a combination of rookies and vets, and where there are lots of parallels, because I think there's a lot of value in those. I personally prefer products with case hits.
Well, I'll tell you what. I've given this a little bit of thought, and you guys know I don't open a ton of boxes. I just kind of buy the singles individually. But what strikes me is that I went to a card shop today to sell some cards that I just had lying around. So I took 2 3-row boxes of all what you would say are like superstar players. So everybody from your Lou Gehrig, your Jock Peterson, your Manny Machado, Harper, and everywhere in between. And also in those boxes, all I had was the hits, the relics and the autographs. A lot of lower end stuff, like John was talking about, like the Finest or Topps Chrome, stuff like that. And the guy went through all the boxes, and you know what the guy picked out of the box? Just the relics and just the autos. I mean, dude, these were no-name guys. And also in that box, because I was going through when I came back, I mean, I had like Bryce Harper Bowman Chrome out of 15, but not a relic, not an autograph. I had rookie cards of every person you could possibly imagine, skimmed right over them, and I ended up selling the guy just relics and autos, and that was all he wanted. So the reason I'm going through this whole thing is to say, I mean, I guess apparently because the guy runs a business, that's all he cared about. Like all the other variations, all the other die cuts, couldn't care less, man. He just wanted ink or a uniform. So, I mean, for me, when it comes to boxes, I don't want any base cards at all. Like if I really have my way, that's why I do like Strata and I do like 5-star. I mean, I like Museum, obviously. I just kind of toss those ones to the side, but I don't get into a lot of the parallels and things like that because, you know what, man, at the end of the day, it's just very, very difficult to get rid of them. So that's why I asked you that question, John, because I know you do tend to move a lot of parallels and things like that, but that's just on a very small level, but that seems to be, for what I sell, what people are attracted to. So if I'm going to buy, that's really what I'm looking at.
Well, I'll say this to you. When products are brand new, you can sell the rookies, the parallels, the inserts, and you can sell them on eBay. And there's some tips and tricks that I have, if anyone's interested on how to sell them, on how to maximize your value using plain white envelopes. There's a different PayPal fee structure for transactions under $10, things like that. After the product's been out for a month, 2 months, products used to have, say, a 2-month shelf life where you could sell the lower end stuff. Right. Now, forget about it. I had a guy just today, looking for Carlos Correa. Showed him a whole bunch of stuff, specifically what he wanted. Tells me it's too much. Well, if it's too much, where do you want to buy it? I mean, where can you buy them? Buy them somewhere? I mean, that's fine. Here, go somewhere else and buy them. But it's like, I just feel like the hobby has changed, and the manufacturers are a little culpable in this, in the sense that they're the ones that are removing the base and insert stuff.
Right.
And I think there is value initially, but I think as we go on, as I've said to you umpteen times, the number of people that actually collect cards is the key word, is going like this, and like this, and like this, and like this. We're like right here on modern cards on people that actually collect cards. It's like, it's funny. I'll look in a Raz room, and I won't name which room it is. There has been one card that has been razzed, I think, 6 times this month. And the title of this card was Same price as always. The guy didn't even put what the price was
Yeah, that's funny.
in the title because it's
So,
just,
so I mean, I guess the real question becomes, I mean, look, there's a product for everybody, and I get that. I guess what I'm really driving at is when it comes to box configuration, would a product like Museum, and Edwin, I can ask you this question, would you prefer Museum cost a little bit less and just had, the hits in it if you were buying it? Or do you actually, hold on to those base cards, or what do you do with them?
I do a little bit of both personally, but I think I couldn't argue with the fact of costing a little bit less and taking out the base. I mean, I think that's just kind of what everybody's looking for because when you're ripping through packs, you see the base. Don't get me wrong. You're like, oh, cool, I got my favorite player, but then you're looking, your eyes go right to, the quad relics or the autographs or whatever the case may be. So I think that's what everybody's after, the hits, what are considered hits or whatever the case may be. So personally, yeah, I could see. I mean, but I'm also a fan of the higher end product too. So
Right.
I don't know if I'm kind of jaded in that opinion as well. So.
but see, here's what I'll say: the cost of those base cards is next to nil. So is there a difference if you're paying 170 or 160? Is there really? I mean, at the end of the day.
Yeah, I do think so because there is a cost associated with just printing the cards, which I know that's not astronomical.
But let's say it's $10 a box. Here's what I'm saying. Do you think there are people that won't buy a box because the retail value is 170 now, and they're like, nah, you know what? I'll buy this at 160, even though it's not going there. Like, it's not coming down. Like, do you think there's people that are priced out?
No, I don't think it's really priced out as much as it is if the cards really are worthless. And for the sake of this conversation, we're assuming that, generally speaking, they are. Then I don't see why they would continue to put them in the higher-end products.
But, Brian, it's like, again, I'll use this analogy. It's like somebody that goes to the store and buys a very generic painting for their wall, like for $40. Does it have value? No, it has value. They just wanted it to change the aesthetics of their home. I say that because it doesn't have a value, but people still bought it. With the base cards, Brian, up until 5 years ago, there were crazy team collectors that wanted the base team set, that just enjoyed the hobby, that enjoyed collecting, that said, I want Red Sox, I want this.
Well, look, man, we've talked about that before, and
I know.
Frankly, I mean, again, I can only relate my own experience, particularly for the higher-end products. I do get all the base cards of the Pirates every year. So, like, I have all the museum base and parallels for the Pirates. I have all of the base and parallels in Tribute, in Finest, like, you name it. Because the thing is, man, people end up seriously giving them to me for almost nothing.
Right, but my point is, years ago, there was commerce there. There were people buying and selling that kind of stuff.
And that's what's lacking, what you just said. The commerce is lacking.
But also, years ago, I mean, when you take it away, there wasn't this plethora of, relic cards and autographs. I mean, you have a lot more to choose from now than what you did. I mean, you used to have, yes, you had, relic cards and autographs, but they were really something special. They weren't.
That was like 2000. That was like, we're talking like 2002. I'm talking back to like 07 when stuff was really cranking. There was high end, there was low end, there were. What I'm saying is, my experience, there were people that still collected up until, I want to say, about 2010. That collected teams, and they liked that stuff. It would be like this. Brian, I have an Andrew McCutcheon relic. Would you like to buy it? Sure. $10, great. Look, I've got this stack of Pirates base. How about $5 for the stack? Yeah, sure. Sounds good. It's a bunch of stuff I don't have. Now, nobody even wants to pay $5 for it, even if it's their favorite team, because their mindset is, I can't resell it. I can't make money.
Right.
And I'm not saying that's good, bad, and different. I'm saying that's the direction that the hobby's going. And I personally, I just don't think it's a good direction. I don't think the mentality of can I resell this? What can I get for it? Is good for the long-term health of the hobby.
Well, that's what leads me back to the original point, which was about product configuration and packs. And so, like, when I look at a product like Bowman Chrome, for example, Bowman Chrome's got a ton of just base cards and, parallels and numbers and colors. And actually, in Bowman Chrome with the rookies, the non-autograph colors can do okay. But I just see people that they buy a box of Bowman Chrome, they open all the packs in the hobby shop, they take the autographs out and hand the guy all the cards.
And that happens all the time. But so again, back to like 2007. Think about this. You weren't in it then, okay? But in 2007, anybody that was in the hobby in 07, I will tell you this: Freddie Freeman Chromes, Hayward Chromes, Posey Chromes. All these big name prospect chromes, the base chrome, $3, $4, $5. Refractors, $25. Like, I'm telling you, man.
You still, like I said, you still see that to a certain degree with that product. But my real question is, if Bowman Chrome decided, like, hey, instead of doing this configuration that we have, and I don't think they have any reason to change it because that product has been so successful. But for the sake of argument, would it be more successful for Bowman Chrome to go to a 10-card pack?
Really pretty, yeah.
I mean, to be honest with you, one of the things that I think about is, like you said before, there's something for everybody, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Collectors going to look at.
See you, John.
All right, John.
He's out.
Is a team collector going to look at, like Strata and think that that's a good investment for them or something they want to jump in? I mean, they're going to get 2 cards of any random,
right.
folks. I mean, they're going to look at something like Bowman Chrome or Allen and Ginter or, something else and say, wow, if I can stretch my money so much farther and get more of what I like.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I always come back to, and John's not here to defend himself, but he holds a much more pessimistic view than I do. At the same token, he deals much more in the reality of the business side, where I don't. I'm exposed a lot more to the friendly collector that you and I are talking about right now, Edwin. But as it comes back again to like configuration, I won't buy a box of Bowman Chrome because Bowman Chrome doesn't do anything for me. I'm going to get 2 rookie autographs out of it, and I'm talking about a regular hobby box, not the jumbos. And, my God, 98 to 99% of the cards in there, I don't even want them. So if Bowman Chrome said, you know what, we're going to do 1 pack per box with 10 autographs in it, I might actually buy that. I mean, because let's say I'm going to get 8 autographs and 2 parallels in every box. I'll pay $150 for that because now I don't have to clutter my house up with a bunch of commons that are never going to be worth anything, and I'm going to get the hits.
Yeah, and I think the challenge too is, I mean, there's all different types of collectors out there and buyers, and sometimes they're priced out by that stuff. I mean,
sure.
They're not willing to drop that much coin on it, and that's why retail's still very popular. People still go and get their single packs or their items like that. I find with the the packs or the boxes or cases that you do a lot of ripping in. Chrome. Archives, Ginter.
Series 1, right.
Yeah, anything that you're going to be ripping for hours, break will go for forever. I think breaks are kind of the best bet for me because I'm a team collector. I want order. Right. So I can say, well, instead of dropping all this money on a case and then I'm stuck with all the stuff that I don't like, sure, there's some hits in there and things like that I can trade for other things. But, I can just go ahead and slim that down and just get the Orioles from there. And then that way I have every single one of the Orioles that comes out of that case, and yeah, sure, there's probably going to be a hit or 2 in there. I think that's a little bit better of a way, but I'm coming from a different position than most people.
No, I do that with archives every year. Archives, I'm sure we've talked about this before, is one of my favorite products. So I usually get in a few case break of archives for the Pirates because I just think they're cool because they have the different years and the art and like all that kind of stuff. But I don't know, man. The product configuration, I think, goes a long way into whether or not I purchase a box or I don't.
Sure.
And, I guess just the brass tacks is that I'm not going to buy Bowman Chrome Top Series 1. I mean, there's a list of 25 of them that I have zero interest in. But it doesn't matter what they cost. If they were giving them away, I would be like, I don't even know if I want it because I don't know. I can't do anything with it.
Yeah.
So,
I
like you
some
said,
of
it's
that
different
low-end
strokes
stuff.
for different folks.
Yeah, I like some of the low end stuff. I mean, I think back to even last year, I broke open, archives, series, some of the regular series. I mean, I break open that stuff too. I mean, it's,
Yeah.
Part of it is just curiosity.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it satisfies
Well,
that need to rip.
I can't tell you how happy I was for this guy at my local card shop. He just opened up. He's like 5 minutes away from me, and he's just starting out. And I basically took, like I said, the 2 3-row boxes that I described earlier, and for me to get $100 out of there, they weren't doing anything, man.
Mm-hmm.
They were like just sitting on the floor. So God bless them for having an avenue to move them. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to turn that into one card.
Sure. And there's folks out there that go out there and they look for that kind of stuff. I mean, to be honest with you, it's kind of a flipper's, option there. I mean, they go after the autos and relics, and let's say I give you 50 cents or $1 for each one of them.
And that's what it was, pretty much.
And I turn around and move them for $2. You know what I mean? And made their profit.
Well, for this particular deal, there were like 5 decent cards in there. Like one was like a Garrett Cole 5-star auto redemption that's like $30. And then there were a couple more that, $10 to $15 range maybe. And then it was just 65 Brandon Webbs and Scott Rowlands of the world that I have no idea what I'm going to do. So God bless them. I was happy to get rid of it. I'm trying to slim down a little bit. You're not slimming down. You're always buying, Edwin. So have you picked up anything nice recently, man? What did you get this week?
Here's my pickup this week.
I see Eagle.
Yes.
I see Cal.
It is Cal Ripken. It is the Ringleaders card. I've been wanting this one for a while.
What is that from?
Look. I mean, just look at this card.
That is really cool. Members only.
Yep. It's a TSC Ringleaders Stadium Club.
All right. Cool, man.
And it's a really cool art card.
That is, man.
I've been wanting one for a while in a 10. I have one in a 9. But it's just been too priced out because of the low population on it. And I found a great deal on here. I got a good lead, and I found a great deal, and I jumped on it. And it's just a cool card, man. It's really good.
I didn't even know that card existed. I honestly didn't. I was out of the hobby in '95.
There's some cool cards, man. That's why I love the set registry and going back through and trying to find fill in the gaps and stuff like that. So. But yeah, so that was my probable pickup my mail day.
No, someone I wish I could remember who, because I always post. I'm really bored. I want to buy something like whatever, and he's like, hey, you should get every Andrew McCutcheon ever made, and I was like, F you. Like, I'm not putting myself through that torture, dude. But there's no way that's gonna happen. I can't. There's like 7,000 of them.
It's hard for modern players. I mean, I'll be honest with you. Even with Ripken, there's like 4,000 something cards in his playing years. That's a lot. But you take it and look at like somebody like Jeter, and there's probably, I mean, I don't remember how many there are, but I'd say it's 7,000 to 9,000. And then you take a look at somebody like McCutcheon. I mean, and he's still not finished playing. So
Every year, and not only every year, there's going to be 17,000 rainbows. There's going to be 1,900 variations. I'm not doing that.
That's why I got to cut myself at the playing years. From 82 to 2001 for Ripken.
Yeah, that was smart to do that because you don't have to drive yourself insane because there's like a finite list, and it will not grow anymore.
Yeah, well, granted, I still get the the modern stuff. I love even the new stuff. I'll show you.
I got to see this.
You know, like this one right
Oh,
here.
yeah. We saw that.
Yeah. So I mean, you know, that's
Out
not
of 5.
Yeah, that's not from 2001. Well, no, you probably saw it, but you didn't know I had.
The other one out of 5.
Yeah, I had to get the one from. Well, I got it somewhere, but I had to get the 2013 and the 2014. So
Right.
But that's not playing years. So
Right.
it's kind of cool to get a nice modern card or something cool that catches your eye. Because I know you're really big into the really nasty looking relics. So I'm sure you're gonna pull out something good.
I was just grabbing for the sake because people always ask what we get in the mail. So
Yep.
You probably saw it already. I got the 1952 Topps Warren Spawn.
Beautiful.
Yeah, man. I'll tell you what. These 1952s, I didn't own one before, and then this one is not. It's not beautiful, but it's beautiful. It's the 52 Topps Yogi Berra.
Yep.
I got that raw, and I was like, you know what, man? I think I really like these 1952 Topps cards. So I ended up getting the Warren Spawn, which I'm not a Warren Spawn fan at all, but it was in a Raz, so what the hell? And then I got, this is SGC, so don't spit on it, Edwin.
No.
It's the 1954 Topps Ted Williams #1, which is the first Topps Ted Williams ever made. They didn't put him in any cards up until 1954. I guess he had a contract with Bowman, which now Bowman is Topps and Topps is Bowman. So and Ted Williams rookie is 1939, and I don't know if I'm going to get that one or not. Oh, I got another one that I'm really happy about. This is a 1948 Bowman Stan Musial rookie card.
Oh yeah.
It has a stain at the top from where someone put it into a book, which is normally bad because damages the card. But for me, it's perfect because you know what that does? It makes a Stan Musial rookie card affordable. And one of the things I've been talking to folks a lot about lately is it's better than the one I don't own. Like, for a lot of these cards, come on, man, to get a Stan Musial rookie card to PSA 7, I don't even know what that costs. I mean, it's a couple $1,000s. To get one that was taped in a book, a little bit OC.
I mean, if he was your PC guy, like me, if he was the Cal Ripken, if that was the cream of the crop, I can definitely see going after that stuff.
Oh, sure.
And it's the pinnacle. That's your holy grail card or whatever you want to call it. But, I mean, don't get me wrong. There's some folks out there, I guess, that are some high rollers and they're putting together, all PSA 7, set. But, for the most common, affordable guys, I mean, it's about the love of cards. They look at that card and they enjoy it and they love it, and it doesn't matter.
I gotta be honest, man. I guess I don't have enough money to where I even care about that stuff at all. Like, because I'm in these PSA groups, and I'm in these circles of people that are as you described, and they'll spend $1,500 to upgrade from a 7 to an 8, and I'm like, it looks exactly the same. Right. It's the same card. Like, I don't know what you're doing. Why would you do that? I think the best example I have, let's see. What did I do with it? Here it is. I posted this the other day. It's a 1964 Topps Pete Rose.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this thing is in, mint condition. It's got 4 sharp corners. It's dead centered. The color is perfect. Not a ding, dent, scratch on the damn thing. I saw it at the card shop. I paid $200 for it. A PSA 8 is $2,200. Mm-hmm. It's the same card. Yeah, it's just not a slab.
I got the 6.
That's what I'm saying. Like, the difference between the 6 and the 8 is literally $2,000.
Mm-hmm.
I can't understand it, my friend. I don't get it. You're a PSA guy. Explain it to me.
Yeah, a couple of things. I mean, I'll tell you. Going back to the point you mentioned, where somebody's spent $2,200 upgrading their 6 to a 7 or 8, 7 or 8
right.
or whatever. they're chasing the registry. I mean, a lot of folks do. You know, they want that #1 set on there, and you know, moving that 1 point on certain cards makes a big difference. You know, different cards are weighted differently depending
Right.
on how hard they are to attain, and you know, it's really it's about the chase. You know, being #1, and a lot of folks will do it. But then again, you know, there's other folks out there too that have, you know, set standards for themselves and saying, okay, if it's a, you know, like a post-war vintage card, you know, I'm going to go with all 7s across the board, you know, and they kind of have that line. And then they got that 1/6 that's sitting out there. They're like, you know, it's like
just
that,
it's just their brain. They
yeah,
can't
it's like
handle it.
that OC card on the shelf behind you somewhere. You're going to like, you're going to be looking at that thing. And I know you know what I'm talking about.
Yes,
And
I do. I mean,
you're going to get it.
hold on. Look, we all hold on. All right, this is mine. It's a 1955 Topps Roberto Clemente rookie card.
And that's a beautiful card.
And to me, it is a beautiful card. It's also miscut. And it drives me insane that I don't have a dead-centered 1955 Topps Roberto Clemente. So one of these days, I'm going to pull all the money at the show out of my wallet and say, fine, take my money so I can scratch that itch. And every time I look at my shelf, it will no longer be a miscut 1955 Roberto Clemente rookie card. It'll be a centered one. So, yes, I get what you're saying. We all have our compulsive disorders when it comes to cards, for sure. It's maddening to me that, like, in an unemotional way, but that Pete Rose that I showed you, it really does frustrate me. That, I mean, it's a $200 card. I mean, I paid $200 for it. It's a $200 card. But to just slab it, put an 8 on it, and be $2,000 different. I mean, that's hard to fathom, dude.
Yeah. Well, you know, I think a lot of it too is, you know, with the way card buying and selling goes nowadays, a lot of folks buy online. You know, I mean,
That's a fair point. Fair point.
You know, and I think that it's that peace of mind. For one, and two, it also opens up the market. So not only is it graded, so there's kind of like a third party say so in there that I would say is industry trusted. I wouldn't say, you know, I mean, they're humans too. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, they can make mistakes, but for the most part, and that's why they say buy the card, not the grade, you know, and go from that standpoint. But at the same time, you know, folks can look at it and generally have a good understanding of what they're going to get. You know, so even if you said, I want to sell you a PSA 8, you know, Rose rookie, you know, you generally know what you're going to get, you know, by, you know, if you've done your homework and you've looked at other things and things like that. So, you know, I think that value kind of adds into it. And, you know, I think the thing that kind of drives me a little crazy too, sometimes even to take it a step farther, is when you look at like, okay, so what's the difference between like an 82, this one comes up a lot, an 82, you know, PSA 10 or PSA 10 and an 82 BGS 95.
Right.
You know, this is like a $2,000 card on PSA, but then it's like, you know, I don't know, 1,600, I don't even know what it is, $1,600 on BGS. You know, and so what's the difference? You know, you can look at them and probably see two of the same cards. But why is this one so much more?
You're asking me. I have no freaking clue, dude.
Yeah. So I mean, just to drive it a little bit further, even, you know, when you're going from the raw to the graded versus the, you know, just between, you know, like BGS and PSA. But, you know, here's the thing too. Different. I mean, you know, so when you split the different errors, you know, the grading differences, the retail differences, you know, actually, you know, split as well. So, you know, while this may be I don't know, can you call it 82 vintage? I mean, I guess, you know, as the years go on,
25 years is considered vintage, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, you know, hey, but, you know, when you go into the modern stuff, you know, look at it. I mean, I don't know, what's a PSA 10 Trout versus a BGS 10 or something like that? I mean, it's going to be through the roof. It's going to be night and day difference there. So,
yeah.
I
It
don't
just
know.
struck me when you asked if 1982 was vintage. I suddenly felt incredibly old. I really did.
Well, it's a shame because I frequent a lot of the vintage card rooms and stuff like that, and Ripken rookie cards are about the only thing I could add to my collection.
Yeah, yeah. It just struck me when you said that 1982. Is that considered vintage?
Well, I guess it's
What do you consider vintage?
well, I look at it like you. It's a rolling scale. So as the
Yeah.
years go on, the vintage category kind of increases. But I think you kind of break errors, so to speak. If you're really looking at what is in a lot of the rooms, people, there's like a hardcore group of true vintage collectors. I mean, you got the pre-era, then you got the vintage, and then you got what's considered modern cards. And most people wouldn't touch anything over, from 1980 and beyond.
I was gonna say, I think 1980 is the cutoff. I do, and even for me though, I find really what I consider the last year of what like actual vintage is 1971. And I don't know. That's just me because 71 had the black borders. It's harder to get in a nice grade, etc. But I find like 72 through 79. I mean, they're out there, man.
But it's wild. It's wild to think that there's going to be kids one day looking at our '90s cards, going, "Wow, look at this vintage. Look at this old stuff."
I think that's already happening, which is why I said I feel really old. I mean, yeah. 1988 tops. No, that's not vintage. That's no. Well, that's another interesting question: is junk era? Because oftentimes the junk era is 87 to 92.
Well, and I look at what kind of led people to classify the junk era as a junk era, and that was mass production. And that opens up that whole question of, are we still in the junk era? Because even though we're not mass producing the same card over and over again, we are mass producing the same player's card through 1,001 different variations.
Look, I didn't want to get overly philosophical today, but I can't help myself. Anytime that something becomes collectible, it is by definition no longer collectible. So if you see something and they're like collector's edition, no, it's not. It's a piece of crap. And I think that truly is how baseball cards are. So the reason I show you my 52 Warren Spawn and my 52 Yogi Berra and my Stan Musial rookie card is because those are actual collector's items. They weren't meant to be put in sleeves and magnetic cases and the PSA holders. They were just something that kids bought, put in their pocket, chewed the gum out of. They were actual, things that existed in the world that became collectible. Anything after 1987, I'm sorry, man.
Yeah. Well, but the flip side of it, I always like to play devil's advocate is, with the limited print runs on a lot of these cards,
sure.
like I mentioned, the variations, you can say, look, I have the only one of this card in the entire world. I mean, it's
right.
one of one. It's a true one of. I mean, not this one, but
Right, I know what you mean.
It's a true one of one. I mean, so or there's only 5 of these ever made, and I have one of those cards. So I. Different strokes for different folks. I think we always come back to that,
Yeah, no, dude, I don't sit here as the judge and jury. I'm not saying what I'm saying is, right or wrong. I'm just saying emphatically that when something is collectible, it's no longer collectible. I mean, that's just the way the world works. I mean, that's why certain Hot Wheels are worth $1 bazillion and the new ones are worth nothing. And that's why, Barbie dolls or Beanie Babies or, God, you can name a billion other things that were at one time, just kind of a cool little niche item that people bought that became a collectible and are eventually worthless. I mean, go on eBay right now and look up Princess Diana Beanie Baby. I'm sure someone is trying to sell one for $90,000 when, no, they're not. They made a lot of them. And that's the whole Gemmin 10 and blah 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 and all those things. Like I don't like to crap on modern cards. I think Topps and Panini should be applauded from the highest mountaintop that they've managed to stay relevant. I mean, that's you know, it's kind of amazing if you think about it, because the hobby was almost dead in the 90s. I mean, more or less, right?
I think once everybody figured out that all of their cards weren't really worth that much, I think it was just a big blow to collectors. And
Yeah.
I think folks that collected a lot in the 80s and the 90s, they they did so, and they did so because of their parents. I mean, I don't know about you, but my dad collected, and my dad would say, oh, this card's going to be worth a lot of money one day. Here's this Reggie Jackson rookie card. And I would look at it and go, wow, I want to go to the store and buy some cards, and as an investment. You would look at it as a kid as an investment too,
Right.
in the future. Now, as we were talking before, a lot of it is about just the true passion of collecting cards and sports and that kind of stuff. But at the same time, we all thought that our Mark McGwire rookie cards that were going through the roof, don't sell them. Let's hold on to it because it's just going to go up and up and up and up. You know what I mean? So I think when it didn't go that way down the road, I think it was a big hit for folks, and they go, I don't want to get into that again, or it's too much, or
Right.
I think it just wasn't a good. I think. As John if John was here, he would say,
You'd already be screaming at me.
He'd be doing this right here, right?
Yeah.
So, but at the same time, I think a lot of what you're mentioning with Topps and Panini is reinvigorating. Because, I think what I just worry about though is, as the high end product really takes off, is it really going to price out the majority of folks? And it's just going to be about the profit margin of the high end product. And
oh, dude, I think that's already happened.
yeah,
I think largely speaking, I think generally, yeah, that's already.
When they have an upper deck product that comes out that's $40,000 a case, and you can get a Michael Jordan card with 5 diamonds on it. It's crazy nowadays. What's next? Really.
Look, that's insane. I could play golf with Michael Jordan for $40,000. I'd rather do that. I'm sure he'd sign my butt. I don't know. For $40K. I could probably hook that up. I don't need, oh my God. That just made me sad. I know the product you're talking about, and I don't get it.
There's got to be some type of, I don't know, where's the sweet spot? There's got to be a sweet spot each time. And I think it's a trial and error thing. And, I think they test new things out, and some things work well and some things don't. And,
that's fair. And I come back to it all the time. It's for everybody, man. That's the best thing they got going for them, is that they really have a product that meets everybody's wants and likes. If you love high tech, great. If you love the base Topps, great. How many people are going to go and buy the set for Christmas for their kid? Obviously a lot. They're going to do that a lot, and they're doing very well. My question becomes, what are you buying? And I really enjoyed John's painting metaphor earlier. A $40 painting that fills up the space on the wall. I don't know why, man, but that hit me like a ton of bricks. I was like, yeah, no kidding. Like, I see those cheap $40 paintings, and I'm like, I judge. I'm like, that sucks.
Yeah. But, if the painting speaks to you and it's something that you like, there's money about, you're like, oh, that's I just got to have this one. It's just, that's the painting. You know what I mean? And,
right.
I think cards are like that too. Sometimes people see it and they're like, they just throw reason, and money out of the picture. And they're just like, that one of one McCutcheon Wood relic. I got to have it.
I got to have it. Yeah.
It's crazy. But
yeah, man.
Great discussion.
Well, I enjoyed it today a lot, and John, I don't know what he had going on back there. It looked like a meeting of family of some kind. There was a small child. There was a blonde-haired woman and a gentleman wearing a jacket. So
I think it was the sports card investor board meeting going on.
Sports card investor board meeting. I like it. So, guys, if you're watching or listening, I think I speak for Edwin and myself and John when I say I really appreciate it. We're on Twitter. I think we're going to catch Bieber, though I do like his new song. I can't believe I just said that on the internet.
And also on our Facebook page, Sultans of Swap. Check it out. Send us some questions. We'll try and get them on the webisodes. And thanks a lot, man.
Yep. Thanks, guys, and have a good Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.